what happens.
Yep. Hello, everybody. This is Josh. And Jen is not here right now. She's a little bit under the weather, unfortunately. So she's yeah, it sucks. She's sitting this one out. However, we do have Mr. Little Spoon, Kenny.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. Good,
Awesome.
good. Just pouring the rest of my beer, getting ready.
Oh, the yard. I love that.
Yeah.
Where mine is, I've got like a giant container full of collector cups and too many TPR trips and freebies.
Yeah, I bust this out for special occasions like this. It's my Howl of Scream yard cup.
I busted out Mountain Blackberry, clearly Canadian.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I would expect no less from Toronto Josh.
But I almost started burning something for the mood, but I don't know. Crispy Corpse horror scented candles.
Crispy Corpse.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Have you used it before?
Nope. No. Jen got it for me, and it smells. I don't know. I can't compare it to anything, and I don't know if I want to. But I will burn it for Halloween. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I say fire it up and give it a shot now. What better time than now?
If I had a lighter near me, I definitely would.
Where'd you get that from? Or where'd she get it from?
It is a website. Does it say it on here? It does not. Just look up horror scents.
Yeah.
All right.
Because there's that.
Me.
Hey, there's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Working out the bugs live.
We figured we'd go live now just in case.
Nice.
And now I actually have two monitors, so I'm trying to keep the chat room open if there's even anybody in there, which currently there's not, but that's okay. We got us.
That's fine.
All right. Can you hear me at all?
Definitely.
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Okay. Cool. I can hear you guys now. Hold on one sec. Let me grab
Sweet. So yeah, Josh, there's what's that website out there? I've heard a couple of podcasts promote it. Circa 1955, Circa 55, something like that.
I've heard of it.
Clearly, I'm not plugging anything properly here because I don't even know the right website. But they sell Disney scented candles. So if you want a candle that smells like Pirates of the Caribbean, that's your place. They got it for you.
I know. I need to get one of those. That would be awesome.
Oh, there you go. It's circa 55, I think it is.
Okay. If you find it, send it to us.
Yeah.
So you're saying that there's a candle that just smells like mold?
Smells, yeah, like chlorine. Chlorine and pirate hookers. Not anymore. They got rid of her, I guess.
I don't know. I think she's still there. Well, in Orlando, she's still there, I think. I don't know.
I don't know. Anywho, that's not what we're here to talk about, is it?
Not at all. Before we continue on to what we are here to talk about, our third person who just joined us is Brian out on the West Coast. How you doing, Brian?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was just saying to Kenny, it's been forever since we've done one of these, and I don't know why we haven't done one. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's been like at least almost a year. I think the last one we did was like November or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the recap, right? Afterwards, I think.
Sounds about right.
So
I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure we all went to. I mean, we've been going to haunts year round. My local haunts have had stuff for pretty much every major holiday so far, and I've attended all of them. I don't know why we haven't done this yet.
I don't know either. But we definitely need to keep this up more because we got a lot of stuff coming. I know I'm actually off. I don't know if you guys I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. I don't know if anybody who's watching this have seen the videos, but our favorite local haunt, Markoff's Haunted Forest. We went out there last year, had an amazing time. We're actually heading out there on Sunday for a little preview of their construction and everything like that. So we're going to hang out with the guys and see what's coming for 2017. It's their 25th anniversary. They're doing this whole Festival of the Dead stuff. It's going to be amazing. But let's not get too sidetracked.
Yeah. These shows always go long as hell anyway.
Oh, yeah. We are here to talk about Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort. We might get a little bit of Hollywood in here, a little bit here and there. So hopefully Brian is prepped on that a little bit. I'm sure we all know what's going on.
If not, I think we know what's going on.
It's called the Googles, if anything.
Yeah, right.
So what we're going to do, a little bit of a different format this year, is we're going to run down brief descriptions of all of the houses and attractions and scare zones and everything coming this year. To Horror Nights 27. And then once we're done, actually, we're going to do the IPs first. Or how should we do it? IPs and originals all together? Brian, what do you think? Brian, still with us?
Nope,
Uh-oh.
not so much.
And the mic's not working. All right.
Go back to what you were doing before, Brian.
We'll do that. We'll recap the houses first, and then briefly talk about expectations. And we'll let you know once we can hear you. So far, we are not hearing you.
Just keep trying, buddy.
Gotta love going live. So let's quickly run down the IPs. We have The Shining, the visually intense psychological thriller, is now the most terrifying haunted experience imaginable. We also have Saw, the games of Jigsaw. The traps are set, all that's missing is you. The Jigsaw killer has returned to torment you with his twisted take on poetic justice. We have American Horror Story coming back for Volume 2.
Yes.
I know, right?
Absolutely.
Experience 3, horrifying stories in one disturbing house as a deranged cast of characters seek not only your life, but your soul. We've got another kind of compilation house, Horrors of Blumhouse. We've got from the deranged filmmakers behind Insidious, Sinister, and The Purge comes the Horrors of Blumhouse. They've all come back to haunt you. Last IP we have is Ash vs. Evil Dead, the Starz original series. Ash vs. Evil Dead expertly blurs the line between horror and comedy in this horrific, hilarious addition to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh boy. Oh, that house.
Oh yeah, put on your raincoat. Kenny, are you able to run down the originals that we got this year?
I will be in just a second. I actually was trying to multitask here while we were doing this, and I had attempted to have the videos looping behind us here, so I could watch them and refresh a bit. But hold on one second.
Brian, you want to do a mic test? That's no.
Well, anyway, do you by chance have the description of those?
I do. Would you like me to send it to you on a chat?
Yeah. Do that.
I will do that.
That'd be great. They're fantastic. And by the way, there's 4 of them this year instead of 3 like last year.
I'm excited for that.
Yes. The more the merrier.
We'll get to that excitement discussion later, but yes. Hey, Brian, maybe in the meantime, try giving a good old popo. And I don't know if a reboot will do it, but it's worth a shot. All right, you should have it there in the chat there, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Hold on.
Yep.
This is highly professional. Sorry to anybody who's watching.
We got one person watching, and that might be me. It's all right. I just want to get together and chat about this shit. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, we can hear him.
Now that we can hear him. Well, that's perfect timing.
Yep.
You want to take these, Brian, like you were supposed to originally?
Oh, these are yours.
Oh, these are mine.
Sorry, yours. Brian's got the scare zones.
Sorry, my bad. Okay. So let's start with Dead Waters. Enter a pestilent swamp that oozes evil, the hellish realm of the Voodoo Queen. If you fail to escape, you're in for a gut-wrenching sacrifice. So we got the it's a bit of a New Orleans vibe, we're gonna think. Is that maybe yes, no? Kind of go along with
that's what I think.
Horror Story. I don't know. We'll get more into that later. But Voodoo Queen, it's exciting. Next up, we have The Fallen. You're about to be caught in the crossfire of the eternal war of light versus dark, and no one will be saved. That's very ominous and creepy, but very exciting. This one, Scarecrow the Reaping. At a long-abandoned Depression-era farm, vengeance takes root, and the only harvest that will be reaped is you. Shit. That's good stuff. Scarecrows are creepy as fuck. That's going to be awesome. And then the last one is The Hive. The crumbling house on 19 Hemingway Lane harbors a nest of bloodthirsty vampires. If you awaken them, you will face a savage, bestial hunger. So yeah, there we go. Those are the 4 originals this year.
All right.
So good.
I know, right?
Am I back? Am I back live?
Solid.
for Dad?
You're great,
All
sir.
right. All right. Cool. All right. So scare zones. That's all me.
That's all you. Do you guys want to talk about the houses first before moving on to scare zones? Figure that might be good.
Sure. Why not?
Okay, let's do that. So whoever wants to jump in, expectations, any highlights, any lowlights?
Ooh. Well, we kind of touched on it already. I'm very, very, very excited that they went for more of a balance this year and brought back an additional original.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of something I think a lot of people were hoping for. So that's my immediate thought. The IPs this year are very strong, I'll say. All of them.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get more into specifics about it, but I feel like, especially as time's gone on and I've had a little more time to let them settle in, I'm really confident with the properties they've chosen this year. So some of them a little more than others, but I'm excited for the lineup all around, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'd agree with that. It's pretty across the board, and there really isn't anything that I'm not excited for. Last year, there were a few that I was like, screw it, Walking Dead. But this year, I know at least a bit about every IP. I'm excited for them. I think they'll all come out looking great and have, just some fun things we haven't seen before.
That's actually a really good question. Have you guys watched, in terms of the IPs, have you guys watched everything related to it? I know, Kenny, you've been doing Ash versus Evil Dead as of late, but what about you guys with the rest of the properties?
I only have 2 episodes left of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I'm putting it off like the plague because the show's so good. I don't want it to be over, but it's coming quick. And then as far as American Horror Story, I'm caught up almost the rest of Asylum. I've watched Coven, and then I have not watched Roanoke yet. I think originally I saw maybe 2 episodes of it, and then I stopped watching because I wanted to watch it from the beginning in entirety. So I still got quite a bit of that to go.
I binged it in one day, Roanoke.
Nice.
Or day and a half, and it was intense. It was good. There's a few things that I think you just got to stick with it. It pays off in the final episode.
Sweet.
I can't wait to talk about this once you've watched it and after the maze. I have I'll be honest, I'm kind of jealous that California is getting just a house based off that, because there's just a clear beginning, middle, and end, and just an awesome way you can transition. Kenny, damn you! I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Damn me because I haven't watched it. Well, yeah. I can mute when we get to that part, and you guys can talk about it. And
we might need to.
That's fine, because I don't want to be the reason to not talk about it. So,
Brian, what about you? You're all caught up on all of them, or is there anything you've not watched?
I haven't caught up on the Blumhouse. Really, any of those movies. I know Insidious. I know The Purge. I think I saw the first one. I don't remember much of it.
It's all that matters.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a franchise. I'm in the process of rewatching all the Evil Dead movies.
Okay.
Army of Darkness, all that.
Nice.
Haven't seen the series yet though, so may not get to it by the time I'm at Halloween Horror Nights.
Whether you make it or not by the event, you're in for a treat when you do get around to it. It's so good.
I easily predict that will be one of the wettest houses in history. Kenny, it's the bloodiest freaking show I've ever seen.
It is.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a universal attraction without getting you wet.
Oh yeah.
I think we're talking about a specific way, but we could be talking about multiple ways, I guess. I mean, I do love the show a lot.
We just actually rewatched. Well, I rewatched and watched for the first time Sinister.
Oh, how was
Um,
that?
don't know how it's going to transition. I'm glad it's
Noted.
only a portion of the house. I don't know. Nothing really happens till the last 15 minutes of the movie. I mean, that's kind of a spoiler, but at the same time, it's not. It just like we watch movies and we can always spot these like that would be great for Horror Nights. There's nothing in there that I say would be great for Horror Nights. It's a problem. So.
Mhm. Well, if my memory serves me right, I think I looked them both up on Rotten Tomatoes, or maybe it was IMDb. I think the second one looked like it was reviewed much better than the first one. I could be wrong about that, but
I don't doubt it. Like I still like the movie. Like it's still a good movie. It's just not a good movie for Horror Nights.
gotcha.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
And I know, Brian, actually, I wanted to ask you something. I believe you mentioned, I think it was you who mentioned about the timing in the Saw house that they've had.
Yeah.
Previous.
So I remember the Saw House from 2008, 2009, something like that. All the years kind of blend together. I've been going since '02. But that was the biggest challenge with the Saw House that they had back then was you could get a great walkthrough and catch every single trap, every single all that stuff. You can get the best walkthrough where they had a plant in the line who would get taken and all that stuff. That was the ultimate one. I got that once. Or you could get the worst walkthrough and miss every single trap, which happened to me a couple of times. We went through and literally everything is in the process of resetting because they're all on the same timer. So you get that 30-second countdown and you're in each scene for maybe 10 seconds. So if you're, at 30 to 20 seconds, nothing's happening, nothing's going to jump out or nothing, you're not even going to get that audio cue. So I hope that they found a way to reduce that amount of time and make it a little more consistent.
Sounds like pretty much across the board what I've heard from everybody who talks about that older house. So yeah, I hope you're right about that. And to be honest, when this property was announced, I was not excited at all, actually. I'm not 100% sure what's changed since then. I guess maybe with the hype around the new movie coming out, plus I guess a little bit more detail about the house, kind of. Well, I don't know. I guess I feel a lot more comfortable with it after learning more about what it's going to be and hearing more about people talking about the old house and all that. From what I've heard, timing issues aside, it was a really memorable house, I guess. Like there were a lot of really good visual things going on with it. Really intense. So I was a fan of the franchise for a while. I want to say I even maybe stuck it out until the fourth or fifth film before I started really losing interest. And I remember I watched the sixth and I just was checked out. I never even saw the seventh one, which I'm gonna try and brush up on, even though I don't think it really matters. I think it's just gonna be kind of a highlight from across the franchise. And then what I do like is that they're going to kind of incorporate like a teaser from the new movie, which I do plan on seeing the new movie, but I don't know. I just something's got me a lot more excited than I was originally about this. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, Saw has always kind of been one of my favorite franchises. Like the first film was horrible acting, but
Yes,
really good.
Terrible.
Oh, it was so bad, but it was easily the best of the series. But
It's just what's his name from Princess Bride? Going, I have to cut off my foot.
that was better acting right there.
Way better. Saw 9. There you go. But I mean, it glorified, the torture porn kind of genre essentially, and that's what the film's about. It's not about being scared, in my opinion, at least.
No.
It's basically like, how can these people kill themselves or kill each other?
Yeah.
Like it's messed up, and that's what I'm excited for. I hope the timing that they had in the old maze that you mentioned, Brian, is not an issue for this because I can understand that could really ruin it. I don't know how you could control it, but it'll be interesting to see for sure. Now, Kenny.
That's the thing with Saw is it's all the anticipation up to that last second when either they save themselves or they,
die.
Get killed.
Brutally. You're right. That's the thing. Like, how do you do that you presumably are in a room for like maybe 15 seconds at a time for each room, maybe a little bit longer. Like, it's tough.
Do you guys have a favorite scene or like a scene that jumps out to you that you're hoping they incorporate?
Ooh.
Because for me, honestly, the one that jumps out first and foremost, I want to say it's from the third, maybe the second one, when the girl that was like a drug addict gets thrown into the pit full of needles. Oh my God, that's pretty horrific. And I don't know that they'll pull that one off, but
well, that was in the original house back in.
Was it?
You went to, right, Brian? Isn't that the one that they used the plant for?
I think so. Maybe, yeah.
Oh.
I remember reading that they would pull a person out of the audience, and then they would, or in the line, and then they would end up in the pit needle or needle pit rather.
Needle pit, nice.
I don't remember it as a pit. I remember it more like a mattress or something like that.
Either way, it makes me squirm just thinking about it.
Yeah,
that's the one I was going to say too. That, or was there one with an ice block or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's from like the 5th or 6th one, I think.
The guy was like standing on it, and it was melting, and then he was gonna.
I think his head gets squished or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
Oh God.
It's all blurred together.
Yeah, they kind of tended to do that, but whatever. It's all good fun, but
I'm curious on if it makes better usage of the Shrek theater than our sadly overly disappointing Krampus of last year.
I just want the little gingerbread man from Shrek to be on the bicycle coming out.
That would be excellent. So American Horror Story. I mean, Kenny, I know you're excited for this. I know I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm assuming you're excited for this too.
I'm pretty stoked for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to be. I mean, it was my overwhelming most excited going in and my favorite coming out. They really did nothing to prove otherwise. I've done some catching up on some stuff, again, not on Roanoke yet, but I was concerned that they were maybe not going to be able to live up to what happened last year in the house until I watched a lot of Asylum. Asylum and Roanoke are going to be perfectly fine, even without watching Roanoke, just because, what was it, three years ago? Was it 24 that had the Roanoke? It was literally called Roanoke, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a lot to pull from. They've got props that, I didn't start going to 25, so I have the luxury of the unfortunateness and the luxury at the same time of not having seen Roanoke. So whatever they pull from that house and reuse, I'm not going to know the difference. And that's also a part of why I'm really jealous Hollywood's getting the full Roanoke house, because I've always been bummed that I didn't get to see the original Roanoke at 24, and now they're really just getting a copy of it with actors from the show, which that's the other thing I'm excited about is how well it was executed in the house when they did the casting for the actors and how similar to the show they looked. So if they can go anywhere near the level of execution they had with that this year, that's going to be awesome as well. But Coven, I'm not so sure. Like, it was a really good season, but there's not a lot of imagery to pull from it, really, that I'm not sure how they're going to do that. It's going to be weird, to be honest.
Like, I think the torture area, I can't remember the character's name, but that torture area where everybody's chained up and everything like that, that would make for a good area to definitely create.
So there's going to be a dude wearing a cattle head at some point. That's awesome.
Be Kathy Bates.
Right. And then what was the guy oh man, I'm really dropping the ball here because I don't remember his name and I don't really know how to describe him very well. He was the guy that would always come. He was like
The
he had
voodoo.
The mute guy.
yeah, yeah, that guy. I mean, obviously they're gonna have him. I would think. I would hope so.
Something.
Papa, Baba, Baba something.
Oh, not the mute guy. The mute guy was the servant dude.
Yeah, no, the voodoo guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to
Yeah.
look him up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some weird name.
I don't know. You guys talk a little bit more,
We're
and I'll.
great. We're great fans.
But yeah, like it's funny. It's kind of weird. Like you're gonna have that stuff in the Roanoke portion. You have the Festival of the Deadliest outside, which is gonna have same kind of like Festival of the Dead vibe. And then what's the original one? Dead Waters. You've got more voodoo stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's gonna be like, I mean, Festival of the Fallen, which we'll get more into when we talk about scare zones, is kind of what they've said is the unofficial theme of the event, or official theme, I guess. So it's interesting to see that kind of carry into 3 different aspects of it. I don't know if they're going to hit the same goal like they did with American Horror Story last year. That house was, like you said, it's perfect. It was great, start to finish.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they can pull that off again. Like I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
See, what I think with this, these 3 seasons, I think tie in the closest to each other, story-wise and thematically, look and feel and all that stuff. Whereas you definitely had the kind of awkward transitions with Freak Show, Hotel, and Murder House. So I think this one is going to flow a little bit better as maybe one storyline.
Makes sense. I don't know, a little off topic. I'm gonna guess this is a no from Kenny, but Brian, did you watch last night's premiere?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Literally just finished that before coming on here.
Did you?
Really good. Really,
Nice.
really good. I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but
Yeah, I recorded it. I knew I wasn't gonna have time to get to it. So.
It's like an election theme, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
Like real political.
Yeah.
Is it really political? I thought that was just kind of like a tie that they used kind of sort of to work into it, but
I'll tell you, the very first image you see is Trump announcing himself running for president. That's literally the first thing you see.
Yeah.
But it is pretty. I remember reading an article. They're like, "Oh, you'll see this, and then that's all you'll kind of see." But they keep referencing the election and the ramifications of Trump. So yeah. Be really interesting to see how they turn it into a house.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean, honestly, it wasn't really as a fan of the show, I can't wait to watch it. But right now, I've got a lot, of catching up and other priorities to get caught up on before this year's event. So I'll actually save that. I'll probably record the whole season before I watch it.
Good idea. Really good idea. Shining. We'll delve into this one. I guess everybody was excited and hoped they would get this property one day. Now they do.
Yeah.
Now they have it. And what are your thoughts?
It's one of my all-time favorite horror movies. Unfortunately, I still have a bit of a bad taste in my mouth from last year with The Exorcist. And this is really going to be, I don't know. I can't really speak too much about it without seeing it, obviously, but I mean, it's in the same soundstage. It's kind of the same era of horror film. Mm-hmm. It's going to be kind of that same labor of love from the creative team. It's obviously going to be different, but for whatever reason, that's what's kind of weighing down my excitement level a bit, as opposed to what it would have been. Had The Exorcist come this year and Shining was last year, I would have lost my mind over The Shining because I just loved the movie that much. Right. But whatever, like, I'm still very hopeful. And it's also unfair a little bit on my part to say I only had one go through on The Exorcist. I did hear people say that they liked it a bit more than I gave it credit for. So that's just me personally. I'm looking forward to it, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I loved Exorcist last year, so I have a lot more faith than you do.
Yeah.
Orlando's or Hollywood's or both.
Both. I liked Hollywood's more than Orlando's, but I think it proved that they can take these kind of unique properties that are so iconic and turn them into something really cool.
Yeah.
In a way that you wouldn't expect. So I'm most curious how they're going to handle all the kind of technical stuff that they have to do to make this work. You know, what will the blood elevators be?
Mhm.
How that's the biggest question I think everybody's asking. How will that work?
I think you
I
maybe
mean,
got
they've got a hurricane coming, so they might just collect all that water and release it at once.
Oh. I think you might have gotten a preview of what that might look like in the Halloween 2 house last year with the screens that they had
going into,
for the fire.
yeah. Yep, and going into the pumpkin and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that's maybe a taste of what you're gonna get with the blood elevator, which is fun.
I mean, screens would be the safest way to go for sure. I was intrigued by one of John Murdy's tweets out in Hollywood when he's like, going back to add more blood to the elevator scene because why not? So that intrigued me what he meant by that. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't know.
I will admit, I have watched half of The Shining multiple times, and then I usually fall asleep. I mean, I'm even wearing an over.
I was just gonna comment on your shirt.
Like, I'm a fan of it. I've never finished a movie, and I will be before we go. I don't know. Maybe I just started too late. It's a long movie and a lot of dry scenes.
It's a very long movie, and it's an older movie, so it's paced a bit slower.
Yes, which is fine. I mean, I'm all for those types of horror movies. I love those. Just, I think I've just started them way too late in the evening, so maybe it might be a day thing or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think if nothing else, this house is going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, easily, this house will be gorgeous.
That's my favorite part of the movie is the shots and how all that works. That's kind of one of the things I'm a bit worried about is being able to see parts of the hotel and things that are such iconic shots, seeing them in 3 dimensions and seeing them from any angle.
Mm-hmm.
Could that ruin it? Because Stanley Kubrick did such a great job of perfecting every single shot. I'm kind of worried that being able to explore that whole scene could ruin it a bit. And I'm really curious how they're going to kind of force your eye into, recreating those shots.
You mean to tell me your favorite part about that movie isn't Shelley Duvall's stupendous acting?
No, her and Carrie Elways can do the next Saw together.
Oh man. Look, I love The Shining and almost everything about it, but her acting in that, it gets me every time. It's lucky it's such a goddamn great movie. It pulls me out.
Well, one of my favorite stories from the making of that is how absolutely terrible Stanley Kubrick was to Shelley Duvall. To act like he would berate her. He was nice to every other actor on the scene, and he would just berate her just to get her to have that like broken down, sad, depressed, like can't do anything right look in her eyes.
Oh, so that might have been on purpose, huh? She actually does know how to act, is what you're saying?
Possibly. I mean, go back to Popeye. No, that's probably not the best example.
The movie's terrifying.
Yeah. But yeah, plenty of iconic imagery. Anything from the 2 girls at the end of the hallway, the kid riding around on the tricycle in the hallways, the blood elevator, the labyrinth at the towards the end of it. So there's so much good stuff about this movie.
I think it'll be. I would love to see them use Pepper's ghost effects in here somehow, with like flashing the twins in front of you and disappearing or turning in. You know how they do it in the movie where it's like they're alive, they're dead, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they can pull that stuff off. I think technically this house will be awesome. I just don't know if it's going to be scary.
I kind of hope you're more in line with what you just said, as opposed to a couple of years ago with the Freddy vs. Jason house when they had the 2 little girls on the jump rope. just standing there, which was fine under most circumstances. But I had one walkthrough where we got backed up and we stopped in that scene for like 2 minutes, and they're just like awkwardly, doing
Yeah.
the jump rope, and I was just like, oh, this is weird. Not very effective anymore.
So how much would you guys pay to do an upcharge solo tricycle ride through the maze?
Wow.
Hmm.
Great question. How much was Repository last year?
A lot.
$50.
Double that.
I keep forgetting that Repository is there again this year.
Is it?
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't think it is.
Really? I thought I saw it on
Yeah,
there.
I haven't
it
heard
was.
anything of it.
I think I saw that it was on the website, but wasn't supposed to be.
Oh, it got
Like all the
leaked.
information and dates were last year's.
Oh.
Maybe it got
Like, I
leaked.
could-
Maybe they haven't announced it yet.
I don't.
You might be right.
It's what, like 10 days to the event.
Yeah, I
Well,
would think they would announce it by now.
Didn't
It got
sell
announced
well.
super last minute last year, didn't it?
That's true. I don't think it sold that well last year though, and it
No.
didn't get great reviews.
No, it certainly did not.
It was fun, but yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I do not see it on here. All right. Well, that's good to know.
So is that all the
That's all the IPs.
IPs?
So next would be the originals, which
Yeah.
I lost on my screen. But we can start
We
with.
talked about Bloomhouse.
Oh, we did not. Well, yeah, we did a little bit.
Very, very briefly.
All right.
Um. So
I don't have
original.
anything.
Oh, do you have anything else to say on that one or no?
No.
The only thing I will add is that it's again something I'm a little jealous of Hollywood. Maybe only because we don't have it is why I'm jealous. But I think it's kind of neat that they're, instead of doing Sinister, they're going to get that Happy Death Day
Yes.
portion of the Blumhouse. I don't know, that movie. Upon watching the trailer, I'm not sure. Like, it's got potential to be good. It also has potential to be a steamy pile of shit.
Yep.
So, but that said, I do think it's good that that they're mixing it up. It kind of gives you a reason if you're on the fence about going to both events. It gives you a reason to go out there. I do like the little differences here and there this year, but overall, with the Blumhouse thing, I'm really excited just about the concept of this house. Not only just because you're getting 3 different properties, so it kind of makes it feel like you're getting 3 mini houses, which technically you are. So it's like bonus content, but we're also very aware that Universal's not afraid to stick with a long-term deal with these companies. And from what I've heard, Blumhouse and Universal have got a pretty lengthy contract together now. And so what's exciting about this is, if you take a look, which I don't have pulled up, but if you take a look at Blumhouse and their portfolio, the properties that they've got to work with is really astounding. And if this house is successful and it goes over well and it's popular, the amount of property that the amount of content that we can potentially look forward to in the future. I mean, I'm talking anything from Paranormal Activity to the wildly popular film from this year, Get Out. Split was a terrific film. That was Blumhouse. The Ouija movies, those are Blumhouse. One of the ones I really enjoyed was couple of years ago, Lazarus Effect. That was really cool. That could be done pretty well in a house, I feel. So there's so many properties. The Insidious movies, there's a 4th one coming out. We're gonna get a portion of that in ours. Again, I think Hollywood's getting an entire Insidious 4 house. There's just a lot of content there, and so that idea is really exciting to me.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned Get Out, which was really interesting, because we were talking about it in the chat, and I just I found it really interesting that was never what's his name, John Murdy, tweeted out or responded to somebody's tweet saying, like, very bluntly, this is not a movie to make into a like a haunted house. This is not a scare zone. This is a social commentary. It exists as a film that's social commentary. So I don't think we'll ever see a Get Out house.
Yeah. Well, it's possible. We also didn't get The Purge last year in Orlando because of current situations at the time, and now look, we're getting Purge all over the place this year in Orlando. So
Purge.
Yeah.
we're getting double Purge. So, but also something we touched on earlier, Brian, you said you've only seen the first Purge movie, and we kind of brushed it off and laughed and said that's all that really matters. That's all that matters in this house, which is cool. I like that because they're going to focus on the first Purge film in the house, but also, and this is something we'll touch on here in a little bit, the scare zone is going to touch more on the second and third films, which is a great concept because the first one was all inside and then the second two were more outdoors. So I really like that they stuck a little bit. They really kind of stayed true to the source material in the fleshing out these ideas. So I'm really excited to see how they pull these off.
Yeah, that's a great point. The Purge scare zone at Hollywood last year, I guess the whole park was the Purge scare zone, which was pretty cool. But it definitely focused on the later ones. But that's a good thing about the Purge is all you kind of have to know is the concept.
Yeah.
And it can go anywhere. It can be in any scare zone. It could be in Hollywood. It could be in New York. It could be San Fran. It can literally go wherever you don't have an idea.
Hell, you can overlay a Scream house with it, and it works just fine.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was never a Scream house. What are you referring to there, Kenny?
I thought the Jiffy Pop was a bit of a giveaway, but
I mean, I thought the Drew Barrymore look-alike hanging from the tree was a pretty good giveaway too. I don't know. What do I know?
Hey man, if we ever have a Purge, all I know is the dog door and the garage door, like the little doggy thing. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shove somebody there and open the garage door. I didn't get that idea from Scream. That's just my go-to in the Purge.
Oh boy. All right then. Originals.
On that note.
Yeah, on that note. All right, let's talk Dead Waters.
Yes. Let's.
Yes, all kinds of yes. Kenny, what did you start going to Horror Nights? I can't remember.
25.
25. Okay. Yep. So you did not see the Voodoo Queen scare zone.
No.
Oh my God, am I excited that I mean, she should have been an icon. I don't know why she isn't with this overarching theme. I could have done it very easily, I think. I'm so happy that Horror Nights is doing a Bayou type of house. And from the imagery that has been released in articles and stuff like that, it looks stunning.
Yeah.
Like was it Ghost Town? Was it Ghost Town last year?
Ghost Town, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It looks on that level, if not further.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys ever been out to Not Scary Farm?
Yeah.
No.
And done their they have a voodoo house out there that's kind of bayou swampy.
Was it there 3 years ago?
Possibly. I think it's been there at least 2 years. I know that.
I want to say it was maybe one of the new house. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I went the year. What year was Paranormal Inc. the new house of the year?
That's I think 2 years ago.
Okay, so that's when
Paranormal's in its third year now, I think.
Yeah, because I went to Scary Farm and Horror Nights the same year, so it was 2015. And I believe that voodoo house. I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's built. It's literally a building that's built for it. It's all water, and the entire maze takes place on a boardwalk that goes over the water. So they have lots of water effects and animatronics in there and stuff like that. A lot of fog. But the cool thing about what they can do in that space is they can, you basically go into a bunch of different shacks that are along this boardwalk. So every year they can kind of reroute how you go in there and what's in all the different shacks. This year they announced that they're going to reverse the flow of traffic. So you're going to go through it backwards. But
nice.
It's just really cool. And I'm curious if they're building something at Horror Nights similar with kind of a permanent pool or something so that they can do water effects like that.
Well, I could be wrong, but is this going into the same soundstage that Ghost Town
one?
Yep.
so I'm pretty confident they can do a lot with it. That's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Dead Waters and The Fallen both are in sound stages. Dead Waters is the furthest to the back, so right by Rip Bride.
where Walking Dead was last year.
Was that where Walking Dead? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that was Ghost Town, wasn't it?
Now
No,
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town was right in the middle. Ghost Town,
Oh,
it was.
you entered Ghost Town at the end of the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. You entered Walking Dead at the end of the street. Ghost Town and Exorcist entrance were next to each
Oh
other
yeah, in
the
front of
middle
them.
by the stage, and then AHS was by Neutron or not Neutron.
Rip Bride Rock.
Despicable Me.
Yeah. Right, okay.
We've confused the shit out of ourselves and everybody.
I forgot because it was all the construction from Twister that they did the different entrance.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Oh, just got spooky in here.
I was gonna say.
So
The
yeah.
Ghost of Ghost Town. There we go.
So yeah,
Gold.
I've got the video looping right now, and I'm kind of watching it. And one of the added bonuses, and these are the kind of things that I love. This is just me finding a silver lining in the fact that I unfortunately didn't start going until 25. But the way that I look at things like this is it's very exciting to me to see characters or scenes or concepts, things that I missed in the past that I've heard all about, and I'm so jealous that I missed. So the fact that I'm going to get to see the Voodoo Queen in a house, like, that's amazing. And last year I went to Hollow Scream and Blood Bayou. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the other one I was gonna bring up.
That's a
kind of
phenomenal
similar
house. So good.
Yep.
I love everything about like the voodoo concept. All that stuff is crazy awesome. I kind of mentioned before I was worried about how they were going to execute Coven in the Horror Story house, but when it comes to all the voodoo stuff, like, man, I love it. I'm all on board with all of it. And just looking at the scenes that they put in the little clip that they released for Dead Waters, it's very like, you know, dark and dingy looking, and a lot of candles and so on and so forth, a lot of blues and greens, and just very eerie and creepy looking. So I'm really, really excited about this house.
I think I saw that they're bringing back the slanted type of room that they've done in the past before.
Awesome.
So that should be fun little, parlor trick, I guess.
Yeah,
Nice.
I hope they bring back the I think the first time I saw it was Interstellar Terror, but it's this boardwalk that kind of like buckles, and it comes towards you, and you can have a pop up or something in front of it. That's probably one of my favorite practical effects that
Awesome.
Sweet.
their arsenal. I'm sure we'll see that.
Now, Brian, you might be able to elaborate a little bit here. The Fallen. I had heard that this is. I mean, I know when all the rumors were coming out, there's all these talks about a house with two different sets of characters from previous mazes battling it out. Is that this, or is this completely unrelated?
Let me pull up the description again of what the
Because all
Fallen
those,
was.
This is the light versus dark.
yeah, they don't reference anything from the past, but I thought it was supposed to be. What are the what were the body snatcher people?
The
Weren't they-
Body
collectors?
collectors?
Yeah, wasn't it supposed to be the collectors versus something? Maybe I'm wrong completely. But I remember when all the rumors list, which turned out to be pretty spot on for Orlando, if not 100% accurate, had mentioned that this was like a battle between previous.
I can tell you firsthand that if that's the concept that this was supposed to be, it's not 100% accurate. I'm trying to look through my photos because I think I screen grabbed. I did a whole podcast on my other show. As soon as that speculation map was released, we covered the whole damn thing, and that was the house that I was most excited for.
Right.
And it was something gothic.
Gothic. That was it. It was Gothic.
But it was gothic. It was something versus something. And I remember saying on the show, like, that was the house I was, like, single-handedly, that was the one I was most excited for. And then I think this is the watered down version of what we had heard.
Is this here?
I'll be honest, I don't remember hearing anything about this.
Oh, here it is.
It's totally not clear from the description.
Oh, well, the Catacombs of Gothic is what it was called.
That's what I see here.
Yeah. Catacombs of Gothic. Yeah. And so I don't know. That actually, I don't know. To be fair, I don't think that's.
It says speculated Catacombs of Gothic House would be two houses from HHN 20 and 22. Catacombs Black Death Rising was seen at Hornets 20 and swiftly became a fan favorite. And then Gothic first appeared at Hornets 22, but was also seen as part of Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters and Mayhem.
Yeah, that was the one with like the gargoyles and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the fact that it does take place in a cathedral kind of goes to the Gothic side. I don't know. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
It sounds like more they're looking to reuse some old sets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the casual fan or the casual visitor won't necessarily catch the correlation back to old nights, but that's definitely interesting to bring back two kind of two older concepts and have them battle it out. I wonder if we'll see something cool like Freddy versus Jason had at Hollywood last year and Orlando the year before, where there's a winner at the end and it changes with the cast or it changes, with the hour or something like that.
That'd be cool. Quick shout out to Robert Barnes, who is the only person in our chat room right now.
Good work, Robert.
Thank you, though. We have somebody, and we appreciate that. Like,
Yes.
Andrew tweeted out that we're good people, so people probably not interested in any of that.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't work out that way. But thank you, Robert. We appreciate you coming in and watching us. We'll try to interact with you as much as we can throughout the show. So stick around. We still got a lot more to go.
Thank you, and we're sorry.
We're sorry.
Scarecrow, The Reaping. Awesome name. I kind of love it. I don't know why, but I just kind of love it. I'm excited to see the Hornets again, much like I was excited with Dead Waters doing, the Voodoo Bayou thing, doing a cornfield type of maze, which I think they've done before. Brian, you might know more about that than I do.
So back in 04, I want to say, either 04 or 06, whenever.
Because I know where you're going with this. It was 04.
Yeah,
the
Hurricanes. So they that's the year they connected the two parks together, and they were intending on connecting them through a cornfield that they planted between Islands of Adventure, right behind the Hard Rock and Blue Man Group. So that's where it connected through. But the Hurricanes came through and completely wiped it out right before the event. So it was, they brought in some like hay bales and stuff like that. So it was pretty sleepy.
Great idea and great effort on their part to literally grow a cornfield only to be wiped out by a goddamn hurricane.
Yeah, and actually, because I worked at Universal for a little bit a couple years ago, and one of the hey Andrew, one of the I'm thank you. One of the
Sorry for the interruption, but Hyde is working, Brian.
There's a big bird over my shoulder.
Oh, that.
Anyways, back on topic. So when I worked at Universal, I worked in that area that's right behind there, and all the infrastructure is still there, so that all the pathways and stuff like that. So they could grow another corn maze if they wanted to. I don't think they're going to do that because this is in one of the tents on the complete other side of the park. But this it was a really cool idea, and it's kind of sad that they didn't get um, to let it live out and see it in its glory. So I'm glad that Universal Creative got another chance to kind of right the wrongs of the past, and hopefully the hurricane that's heading there right now doesn't decimate
Yeah.
it again.
That's
Let's
what
hope
I'm saying.
history doesn't repeat.
Yeah, so they built a corn maze type of thing. It got destroyed by a hurricane. They're building another corn maze type of thing, and there's a hurricane coming.
Yeah.
Bad
So
omen.
so if it does stand, well, it'll stand. It'll be fine, I'm sure. We'll have a great time at Halloween Horror Nights in 2 weeks. I think that this is going to be the sleeper hit of the event, at least for the non-IP houses. I'm looking forward to this one because I am really excited what they've been kind of keeping in store for the past 12 years or something like that. 15 years almost.
Is this going? No. Ash vs. Evil Dead's going where Too
Building
Many
it.
Ancients was, right?
Which one?
Where was Tomb last year? Is that where this is going, or is that where Ash vs. Evil Dead's going?
Isn't Ash vs. Evil Dead in the parade building, or is that the Hive?
Oh yeah. Yep, you're right. That's going parade. So this is going where Tomb was.
This is going where? No, what was there last year? Halloween.
No, Halloween was in the parade building, and then Tomb was
Okay.
next to it, and then Texas Chainsaw was over.
Yeah.
Chainsaw. That's where this one's going.
So damn. So this is going where Tomb was. So
No. Chainsaw.
Either way, it's a tent. They're
It's
both
a tent. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I
was blown away by Tomb last year, and not to say that it has to be in the same tent to be of that level, but yeah. Well, we'll see. It's a great concept. My question for you guys, a lot of people talk about like IPs that they would love to see them acquire for the event, and a lot of the time Children of the Corn tends to come up. Do you guys, is that something you would want? Like, personally, I love the original houses so much that I would take an original over a property any day. So I feel like this is a win-win. Like, I'd be cool with them getting Children of the Corn, but this is better, So I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather Jeepers Creepers than Children of the Corn.
Oh yeah, there's a good one. That's a good point.
I'm all for original IP or non-IP. I think when Universal has kind of free reign to do what they want and create the monsters they want, I don't know. I like it better, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you. So cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I with how Tomb did the claustrophobia really well last year. I'm picturing that's going to be awesome in this. I'm curious with their fire regulations on what they're going to do with the,
Yeah, didn't they redid the fire system last year for Tomb to get it lower?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why that was, if I recall correctly, the most expensive house they ever did, just because of that.
Mm-hmm.
That alone was like $25,000 to get it lowered.
Jesus.
I believe it.
It'd be cool if they can recreate like a cornfield indoor with the same really claustrophobic. That's why I think that's where I was going with being excited about this being on the same sound stage, and the effort and the money that they threw into Tomb last year. If this is the same level that they put into that, then they could potentially create a really claustrophobic, real feeling corn maze indoors. So excited to see where they go with this.
Yep. And lastly, we have The Hive, which, I mean, I think it's a spiritual successor kind of to the, was it Vamp 65 or something?
Vamp 55.
55.
Yeah.
So this seems like a spiritual successor to that, and I'm just saying, vampires, 80s, awesome. That's my opinion. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm stoked for this house. because it is two things that I really do enjoy. It's it's a period piece where it's set in another time, which is always fun to see the Horror Nights creators do, and I think it'll really let these characters create some great characters. The thing that I love the most, my favorite scare zone from last year was Vamp 55, and the thing I loved the most was the creative freedom that that the characters had, that this characters had to improvise, come up with backstories for their characters, all that stuff. And I'm curious if they'll have the same kind of free reign to do that in a house where they've in the past couple of years they've taken a lot of the ability for those characters to say things and replaced it with triggers and audio cues and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see if it has that kind of same organic feel, or if they are gonna resort to a lot of pre-recorded stuff, and that to me will be the make or break.
Let me ask you guys a question. How familiar are you guys with the backstories of like the houses and characters they've created for the event in the past?
I've been following it for at least 10 years or so in terms of the backstories. You got Cary, Ohio, you've got the Body Collectors.
Well, Cary, Ohio is exactly why I bring it up. Because that's the tie-in here. Where's that from? Is that's a Body Collector thing, isn't it?
So that's come up year after year. Except last year. I don't remember anything.
Last year it was the Fisherman's Wharf scare zone.
That's right. That
was in Cary, Ohio.
So Cary, Ohio is just like a link every year that they just like to tie something in. Because Cary, Ohio is a fictional place. Yeah. That they kind of created.
I believe so.
Okay.
There was a reason. The name of the town itself was introduced in Halloween Horror Nights Reflections of Fear. An area of the town known as Willamette Valley served as part of the caretaker's backstory. The town is located in Wyandotte County, which was featured in horror. Basically, it's all fictional. There was a reason for it. I thought it was one of the creators' names or creative staff names or something like that. I could be wrong on that.
Well, either way, props to them for sticking with just that link that they always tie in somehow, some way. I'm not going to spoil, because I think we're going to give our rankings here at some point. This house is pretty high for me. I'm very excited about it. Kind of like you guys said, vampires, 80s. I mean, what more can you really ask for? It's going to be super gothic looking. It's going to be dark. One thing that's interesting, because I still have it pulled up from when we were talking a few minutes ago, I've got the speculation map. This is fun to go back and look at this. Somebody was really close. Somebody was spot on, and then somebody was really close. This house was speculated originally to be Vamp 74.
Yep.
So they missed the decade slightly, and I think maybe there was a rumor going around that they were going to take the successful scare zone, the Vamp 55, and ride the momentum of the popularity of it and to try and turn it into a house. If I'm being honest, I kind of like this idea a bit more. Somebody sold me big time. Again, that the speculation episode we did, if I may plug the podcast I was on, the Grim Grinning Host podcast, my show I'm on weekly. We did a whole massive speculation episode, and it was on that show that I was sold. Like, at first I wasn't crazy about the idea of taking that fun concept and turning it into a house, but then it sounded like a fun idea. This to me seems more like something I'm interested in. Like, it's going to be a super dark, like really scary kind of vibe. I feel so it's just fun to look at. Somebody was really fucking close. They got the vampire theme, they just missed it by a decade, but it also looks like it's cool that they didn't take the scare zone idea and ran with it.
Yeah. So here's the thing I literally just thought of. So last year, Vamp 55 was Hollywood. It took place in Hollywood. They're The school was Hollywood High School. This is Cary, Ohio, so it's not a continuation of the same story or the same characters. That to me kind of, I don't know, just kind of bummed me out a little bit, because what I really would have loved to seen was some of the those like young students, you know, what, 30 years later, like a Back to the Future sort of thing, where they're now 30 years older. Well, they're vampires, so they probably don't age, but
Exactly.
those same characters interacting in the 80s environment. So you really get that nice Back to the Future Michael J. Fox. If there's a song, a IP song, not an IP, but like an actual song from the 80s in this house,
Oh,
what would you want? What would you want to hear playing on like a stereo?
oh shoot.
Hmm.
I know the song I'm thinking of.
80s song, huh?
Crap, I gotta go to my Spotify. Damn you, Brian.
I'm going The Power of Love. Just walking through a house and hearing Huey Lewis in the News
In a vampire house?
in a vampire house.
I mean, that would lighten the mood a bit. So,
Oh, totally.
so you would
I-
you
I think this might be the joke house.
oh, so you
Well,
you think this still might be? See, I think you were back in the direction of selling me on this would have been better off had they stuck with that concept, but I think that's the conscious decision to go with Cary, Ohio. I think was kind of them saying like, no, this isn't going to be the same as Vamp 55 was. This is definitely going to be a much darker, you know, much more serious tone. But
They've been referring to the vampires in this maze as Nosferatu style vampires.
yeah,
So
all right. Yeah.
that was something else that was like, I agree though. Like, I don't get why they wouldn't have run with, even put it in a different decade, but why they would not have run with the scare zone idea. Clearly, they want to do the vampire thing.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that you can't or won't see characters from the scare zone. I mean, they can travel, right?
Yeah, they could have moved to Cary, Ohio from Hollywood
You
in
never
30
know.
years.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So, as for the song, do you really want to hurt me? That's what I want to hear.
That's a good one.
I don't know why I blanked out on that name. But yeah, this house should be good. I'm intrigued. I'm with you though, Brian. I do hope we see something from the scare zone. I don't need to be hit over the head with it. Like, even if it's for the hardcore fans who give a shit, then that's awesome. That's the people who are going to care to see it anyway. So
Yeah.
So hopefully they do something in there. So I think that wraps up the houses. So let's overview the scare zones. We'll go back to our hype list right near the end. So let's overview the scare zones. Brian, if you want to get that list up still.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll start off with The Purge, which is in the New York area. So The Purge has returned to Halloween Horror Nights and overrun New York. No one is safe. Be part of a proud American tradition. United, we purge. We've got over in Central Park, we've got Trick or Treat. Break the rules, pay the price. That's the murderous moral of the 5 Twisted Stories in Trick or Treat, a darkly hilarious tribute to Halloween. Over in the streets of Hollywood, we have the Festival of the Deadliest. The dead are throwing a hell of a Hollywood party, and you're invited. Your spirit will fuel the frenzy of this ghoulish gathering. That's quite a tongue twister. Over in my hometown of San Francisco, we have Invasion. The year is 1955, and a UFO has crashed onto the wharf. Their goal, to conduct experiments upon you to prepare to invade Earth.
Butt
And
stuff. What that is, butt stuff.
Just to clarify.
Cover your buttholes.
Free probing. Over at the front gates, we have the Altars of Horror. Enter the Nexus of Evil, where all the most fearsome characters and nefarious creatures from each of the Halloween Horror Nights haunted houses will lie in wait and be disrupted by selfies.
Exactly. AKA the selfie scare zone.
Yeah.
Nothing scarier than that.
Nah.
So let's chat. Purge. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on. Super stoked. Loved the Purge Scare Zone when I saw it first time. It couldn't be in a better location. It will be great to see, what was it, the Friendly Gentleman, I believe he's referred to, as well as the new caretakers or cleaners or whatever it is with the wood chippers. That's going to be interesting. I don't know how the hell that's going to play out, but I saw a video of wood chippers on top of a car today, so that will be intriguing. The motorcyclist, everything like that. It's just such an awesome scare zone. Kenny, I don't think you got. Did you get to experience that? Well, you went 25, right?
I went 25, which had the house, but the scare zone was 24, right? Like, because I didn't see that scare zone.
Oh yeah, that was 24. I forgot my first year was 23.
Which again ties into I've started hearing like a few rumblings here and there of like a little bit of purge fatigue with like, oh no, they're bringing it back and putting it in the same place. Again, for me, this is another one of those, I didn't see it the first time, so bring it on. I'm excited for it. Very excited. I love the Purge films. I love everything about them. They're awesome. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, and actually, to your point, this brings up a good topic. A lot of the things that are coming back or stuff like that you haven't seen before, and just in the there's like a bunch of Halloween Horror Nights Facebook groups and stuff, and it seems like most people that are that are current fans haven't been going for year after year.
Right.
A lot of them kind of started around 24, 25.
I mean, 25 did wonders for like bringing in new people. I mean, myself included. I started going 25, and so I think they're going to get at least a couple of years more mileage out of bringing back some of this stuff, and getting some use out of it before you start really getting a lot of backlash. Right now you got kind of the hardcores, like you guys have been going for a long, long time, but that's kind of a small part of the population that's going. To be honest, there's a lot of new waves of people coming in, so this stuff's all still fairly new.
Yeah, and that's exciting. For the Purge, I mean, I got a lot of it last year in Hollywood. I'm still excited for it. Like it's a good property. It's one that I don't think can get as played out as Walking Dead did for me, because it's a little lighter. There's an opportunity for some comedy. There's different characters you can throw in. You don't have to know the story. You don't have to follow the episodes. You can fall off and stuff like that. And it's fun to have people kind of jump out at you and go, I'm gonna kill you. That's why you go to Halloween Horror Nights, for people to jump out and say, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. Well, in a roundabout way, I think what you're getting at is they got a bigger sandbox to play in with this, whereas with The Walking Dead, it's like you got zombies. How much can you really do with zombies? At least with the Purge, you've got a bunch of different looking characters and shit, like the wood chipper and so on and so forth.
And you can make up your own characters. I mean, I'm sure they have tons of these Purgers are just people coming in their street clothes and slapping on a mask, and
plus they just
come up with their own backstory.
They just look cool. How you can have these masks with like LED lights flashing and shit, and stuff like that. It's like it just looks so visually the part of this event. Zombies are just zombies. You can't really disguise them. You can't plant a zombie in line and then be surprised by it. Whereas the Purge, the Purge, you can do that kind of stuff. You can put a plant in the line and all of a sudden they're part of the story. So there's just more to play with, I think. So, and totally. like we touched on before, I really enjoy the fact that they're focusing the scare zone on the second and third film, and they're putting the house portion of the Purge in the first film in the house. So, just, I don't know, everything they're doing with the Purge is feeling right this year.
Yep, I agree. I hope they have that one mask with like the green LEDs. You can buy that at Spirit Halloween now, by the way.
Yeah, I bet you can.
That's awesome. Trick or treat. Holy shit. I mean, I'll say first, really quickly, sad it's not a house, but let's get that out of the way and look at the good stuff. Everything about this.
That means it could be a house next year.
Yeah.
You never know. Yep.
There you go. I'm actually watching Trick or Treat right now as we record the show. It's on in the background.
Nice.
It's such good stuff, and I really see. I actually I kind of feel like I'm glad it's a scare zone this year because again to tie it back to last year, I'm still coming off of that little bit of a sour taste with Krampus, and being Michael Dougherty, same director, it's got a similar vibe. I eh,
You
I
almost think that that's why it's a scare zone. Is he's like,
yeah,
no, you fucked it up.
you fucked up Krampus. You fucked up
See,
Krampus.
that's the thing is last year Krampus in Hollywood was done so well.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
really
hear.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it out there. So I don't know what he looked at and what he said, or if that's the
Yeah,
reason it's a scare zone or not. But
I mean that's all
uh,
speculation on our part,
yeah.
but I guess that's I don't know. I'm almost happy that it is a scare zone, and if it goes over well, then maybe it will go to a house next year.
Mhm.
But I mean, the tone of the movie is very, very Krampus-like, with
Mhm.
a little bit less humor, I guess. Krampus seemed to go a little bit more on the humor side, whereas this has just got more of the campy sort of
Mhm.
humor that goes along with it. But overall, it's tough to say which is a better movie. I enjoy the hell out of both of them, but I really, really like what I've been seeing so far in pictures that people have been taking and the props and everything that are set up. I love that all the jack-o'-lanterns are carved differently, and just seems like a lot of effort's being put into it, and I like that.
I
Yeah.
think, go on, Brian.
That brings up a really interesting thing that you mentioned about the different styles of comedy of those two movies. Last year, I don't think we saw any of the comedy from Krampus come through in either of the houses.
Yeah.
So I think
Except for the gingerbread man in the garbage
Yes.
disposal. That was pretty great.
But I think as a scare zone, you can get a little bit more of that comedy, and you can have your characters have a little bit more freedom to, kind of add some of that humor, because that's really where it came from in those films, was from
Yeah.
the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Just doesn't translate to a house as well.
Do you think they'll have the bus anywhere in the scare zone?
They have a bus.
But it'll probably be used for Purge, won't it?
It's already in Purge.
Maybe
Damn
it is.
Yeah, but
Shit.
if I'm not mistaken, they do have pieces of the bus in the scare zone.
Hmm.
Like I don't know cars that well, but like the drive shaft, is that a thing? That's a thing, right?
That is a thing, yes. Without a drive shaft, you don't go anywhere. That's
Yeah, I know they have
Kenny's an NASCAR fan. He'll know about that.
they have pieces of the bus around, but not. I just think what I've seen looks like one of the most outside of the Purge. Really, for me, it's one of the most detailed scare zones.
Yeah.
They've done. Like, it kind of almost looks like a mini house.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Like they've even got
They have a mini house. They have the doorbell, don't they? The door frame.
It's awesome.
Dude, hey, this is a horrible missed opportunity if you can't go up to that door and knock on it and get the little suckers from the movie. This is a horrible missed opportunity. But then again, Krampus, I even tweeted at Horror Nights last year and said if you don't have some sort of, what's the drink that they're drinking in Krampus? The grandma makes it for everybody. It's some sort of like
the
schnapps or something.
Yeah.
I even tweeted at Horror Nights and said, if you don't sell some sort of schnapps and gingerbread cookies, like, horrible missed opportunity. And they didn't do that. So I feel like you're probably not going to have any of the little suckers from the movie. But if you can't go up to that door and knock on it and get some candy, that's a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
But what real quick before I forget this point, one of the most interesting things about this scare zone to me this year, besides the fact that I'm a fan of the movie, this scare zone in the previous 2 years that I've been there, last year was Banshee, Lair of the Banshee. I can't remember exactly what it was the year before at 25, but I really liked the feel of it and kind of the atmosphere of it. But I remember very clearly thinking, this already feels stale and they need to do something pretty dramatically different with it, even if it means not using this area. But I like what they did this year where they've actually taken a property. This is the one time it works in reverse for me, I feel, where I like the scare zones, but they're just sometimes they just kind of miss for me. And this is the one time that taking an actual property over an original idea is more exciting to me. So I really like how this has revamped the feel of that scare zone for me, at least going into the event. So I just thought that was an interesting thing where usually I'm more on board with an original house over a property. This is the reverse effect for me.
Yeah, years ago, this I think maybe 2009 or 2010, something like that, was the first year that they really put all those pumpkins up through that corridor, and it was one of my favorite scare zones of those years. And then it, kind of got stale. It was up for too long, and then they started to move some of those more like Banshee and stuff like that in there, and then the space just became one of those weird, like, all right, you just need to get through here to get to the houses. So I'm glad to see that they're kind of bringing it back and refreshing it. The thing that most excites me about this scare zone is that Sam is a prop. Is not walking around. Because I think if he was walking around, that it would just be nothing but selfies. You'd have no interaction.
Good point, because I was just about to say he has to be a prop because the actual walk-around character is going to be in Altars of Horror where you can take a selfie with him. That's exactly where he's going to be.
Yeah. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And probably at the dinner option, the character diner dinner as well. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I like the figure.
So I'm glad people take selfies with the static thing. It can be there and, appreciate it from afar. And, people can ruin good things.
Oh, they already are. That's why there's fences around the goddamn spaceship over an Invasion.
People suck.
People suck, and we can't have nice things because of it.
Yeah.
But
so let's move on to Invasion then. We'll get back to the festival.
Real quick, not to beat a dead horse, but that goddamn school bus. Guessing you have to be up. It has to be mobile because when the park closes, that's when they drive it out, right? It doesn't stay there during the day.
Yeah, I know last year for the Vamp Scare Zone, we were sitting there in the stay and scream area, and we watched the bus get pulled out.
So it is mobile.
It is mobile.
They can drive that thing into the fucking lagoon, just like in the movie Trick or Treat, and really recreate that scene. And
they'll do that on the final night. I'm sure.
Everybody will be sold. Greatest event of all time.
Oh my God.
They just drove the school bus into the lagoon.
Away from the final Bill and Ted is either watch the final Bill and Ted or watch us drive the school bus into the lagoon.
Wow.
God help you, by the way, if you're by this scare zone when that show ends at any point. God help you.
Yeah.
Because whenever Academy of Villains ended last year, that scare zone was a hot mess. Yep. And now this is going to be a pretty popular scare zone, I think, this year. God help you if you're anywhere in that vicinity when that show lets out.
Nope.
So yeah, next up, we'll go back to festival, but next up, let's talk Invasion, because I know we're probably all excited and maybe a little hesitant about this scare zone.
Super excited.
Oh yeah, like if it doesn't look like Mars Attacks, it needs to look like Mars Attacks. That's
for sure. That's absolutely my number one thought. When they released the scare zones, like this is the first one I saw, I was content. I was already content with the scare zones this year when I saw Invasion. And then when you start reading the description, it's like, God damn it, that's fucking amazing.
I am. Oh, sorry. What was that, Brian?
No, good. Sorry.
I was going to say I'm terrified of the congestion after last year's hell.
You know what? As of just of today, I forget what podcast I was listening to, but somebody had mentioned that they took the spaceship and they bumped it back off the walkway considerably further than where the ship would have been last year.
Okay.
And so they took this area, and instead of having the main focal point, the main prop protrude halfway into the goddamn walkway, it's entirely off the walkway this year. And
Nice.
so you still have a straight direct walkway, you know, full width all the way through. So it seems like they did learn from last year, which would have been really disappointing had they not learned from that mistake last year, because that, you know, that was arguably the most beautiful scare zone last year, but I hated walking through it. I despised it because it was just such a jumbled mess every time you'd get there, especially late in the night. It was just, ugh. So I was very worried about it until I heard somebody mention that today. So that makes me feel a lot better.
That's good to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find it interesting that they're going back to 1955 with this one. It's San Francisco, which is also California, same as Hollywood. I wonder if they're trying to kind of create a second universe, like they have with Cary, Ohio. That's
Good point.
California 1955.
Huh.
I think they learned a lot from the fun that you can have with that, and I'd be interested to see if year after year they're going to keep having a zone that's 1955.
So do you think this is going to be that same fun-natured, lighthearted, kind of humorous scare zone?
I hope so, because none of the other ones meet that description, to me at least, as being the fun, campy. Actors can do some weird things, and nothing says camp. I mean, I'm thinking back to one of my all-time favorite houses, Interstellar Terror, where that totally was kind of the campy. I thought it was a campy house, because what's spookier about aliens in space being ghosts and haunted and stuff like that? I don't know. It's one of those genres in horror that usually isn't done in a terror, like a true terrifying nature. It's usually done with a bit of camp behind it. So,
well, that's a very good point. And nothing yells humor like alien anal probing. So, it's a very, very valid point.
I'm shocked that I missed that whole 1955 thing. That's interesting.
Yeah. To be honest, and to be fair, you're the first person I've heard a lot of fucking people reviewing, these announcements. You're the first person I've heard make that connection. So that's very interesting. I hope you're on to something.
That's the part I'm most excited about, because I think they had a real winner last year with choosing that. And I wonder if a bit of it is a slight dig at either Disneyland or a nice little callback to Back to the Future.
Well, also both good points. That it's too specific of a year to just be a coincidence, though. So you're right about one of those.
Yeah,
it's just way too accurate to go back, that far in history and land coincidentally on the same year. So good point, sir. Good point.
Conspiracy 55 coming Halloween Horror Nights 2018.
There we go.
Vampires, aliens. What else would be next?
Werewolves.
Werewolves?
American Werewolf. Oh, what a great house.
I know.
Anyway.
So good. All right. Back to scare zones. Let's get this one out of the way. Altars of Horror. Yeah.
If you couldn't see my gigantic eye roll.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, whoever was.
No, I was just going to say.
I'll say this. We may not be the demographic that it's aimed for, and that's fine. I think it's going to serve its purpose for who it is aimed at, and that's the younger generation that really truly does embrace that selfie culture. This is definitely going to be the place where everybody's going to want to stand around and take pictures with the different various characters from the houses and all these iconic characters and so on and so forth. So it's going to serve its purpose, and we kind of are poo-pooing it a bit. But that said, like, it's gonna draw people away from the shit we really want to do. So it's just, it's gonna be a clusterfuck at the front of the park, but for anybody that's serious about the rest of the event, you're not going to be coming in late and dealing with that mess anyway. You're already going to be in with the Stay and Scream or whatever, or well on your way with your tour for that night. So, it's not anything I don't think the three of us or a lot of people are going to be super interested in, but it's going to do very well in the demographic it's aimed for. And for that, you got to give them credit. Maybe at the very least, this will help itch that scratch people have, or scratch that itch that people have for wanting to take selfies with the characters, or it'll just fucking encourage it.
That's
And
what I was
people
going
will
to say.
just,
It might just fuel the fire.
yeah, people will just be doing it everywhere because they're like, well, it's allowed up there, so let's just do it here. But I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to work well for who it's meant to be for.
That's totally a great point. And, definitely props to Universal for trying this, because I think it's something that will really hopefully help with that congestion in some of the other scare zones. And especially in the houses. Hollywood allows photography and video in their houses, and it kind of makes for a miserable experience. But people do it and nobody says anything, and it's almost encouraged. It's bizarre. Whereas Orlando is incredibly strict on photography in houses. So having characters from scare zones and houses out in the streets, I think, will definitely help. Back at Horror Nights 20 Years of Fear, they had kind of a scare zone that was like that, with a bunch of characters from the past. And selfies weren't as huge back then, but it definitely was a good, photo taking place. And it definitely helped kind of quell and scratch that itch, like you said, from some of the other areas, because you can go to one place and see it, which is good. I hope that's what this really is.
Yeah.
Makes it easy to avoid.
Who do you expect to be out there character-wise? Like, do we expect it to be all just IPs? Do we expect something from the originals as well? Like, that's the
I
thing.
think it'll definitely. I think it'll be
out there.
Yeah, Voodoo Queen. I think we'll see a Scarecrow from the Scarecrow Maze.
Yeah.
I think we'll see, might see Ash out there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That'd be cool.
Someone from Purge Scare Zone may cross lands and head over there. But I think you might see what they may end up doing is taking someone and saying, like, all right, you're a breaker character or whatever. You're gonna go give breaks in your scare zone, and then after breaks are done, you go into this scare zone. So maybe there aren't two copies of all these characters. They just kind of come from scare zones or come from the houses.
It's a good idea.
Do 20 minutes out there and then head back to their.
So it's not always, you're not always going to see, like, so if you go to that scare zone specifically to see a character, you may not be there at the time.
Maybe that might be how they do it, or they have 2 or 3 of them.
All right.
If they're face characters, might be a bit harder, but if they're in a costume,
I think you'll see the 2 little girls with the jump rope. Or holding hands, not the jump rope, just 2 little girls holding it.
I wonder if we'll see Jack.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if we'll see him somewhere. Actually, I'll tell you my prediction when we get there in the next section.
Okay. And then let's move on to the next and the last Scare Zone, Festival of the Deadliest. Taking over from Vamp 55, iconic Scare Zone last year in the streets of Hollywood. Sets on this one look awesome. The vibe is going to be awesome, I think. I'm predicting lots of black lights and glow-in-the-dark kind of outfits and stuff like that, hopefully. And like, they've been going heavy into promotion with, the Day of the Dead kind of face paint and everything like that. So I think this will be an awesome, fun Scare Zone to hang out in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun for sure. It's kind of weird that it's like a cheap knockoff of Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Like it's weird because they wouldn't have had to actually buy the rights to that. I don't know why it's not just Day of the Dead, but
so they did a Dia de los Muertos Scare Zone a few years ago in the entry area, and it was interesting. They had it was a lot of blacklight paint, stilt walkers, stuff like that. I don't know. People had a lot of fun. You know, they were playing like, you know, funky music and stuff like that.
Mariachi band.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It didn't excite me all that much, but it might be because I've also done so many Cedar Fair haunts, and Dia de los Muertos is always the theme in those as well. And I don't know, feels a little oversaturated to me, and just never feels particularly scary. In fact, it can get close to kind of like cultural appropriation-y. I think that's probably why they're drawing the line, so that they don't run into any problems with that.
Fair enough. That's actually a good point. I think it'll be fun. It's going to be beautiful. Like, it's going to be a gorgeous scare zone. I'm sure the costumes and the makeup and all that stuff's going to be incredible. I have no doubt of that. But I don't know. It doesn't land super high on my hype list, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited for it. Much like the houses, I feel like, with the exception of Altar of Horror, like, the scare zones are very strong this year as well. So by not being the most excited about this one, it's not taken away from it. So I'm excited for it.
I'm still kind of baffled and almost surprised that with all the buildup, with all the imagery of this event, that Lady Death from Universal Singapore, from their SIP, why that was not something brought into the event, or even as far as, not that you need an icon for event. I don't want to fall into that group of people who say you need an icon, but they're almost setting up for it. So I was a little confused why that was not announced.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and complain that we don't have an icon and you have to have an icon, but an icon just helps tie everything together, and that just would have been a shoo-in. It would have made so much sense. It's a character they created that would have fallen perfectly in line with this, and would have been a hell of a lot better on the merchandise than what they've got for merchandise. All I know is it's going to save me a lot of money this year. I have, I've had my opportunities to buy Disturbed tour T-shirts before. I don't know. I feel like that definitely should have been a tie-in that this easily could have been the icon, because this scare zone is themed as though like this feels like the Chance scare zone from last year, where she was the icon and then you had her scare zone. Like, that's what this feels like, only that's not the icon. It's weird. But then again, what hasn't been weird this year about all the marketing? So
I'll pick you up something Lady Death in Singapore this year.
You son of a bitch.
Alrighty. So lastly, let's talk shows.
The saddest news of all.
Oh, heartbreaking.
So we got let's do the good first, then we'll get to the sad. The good, Academy of Villains Afterlife. They're coming back. I don't know. Oh, well, I saw the shrug of their shoulders there, Brian.
I didn't see it last year. Probably won't see it this year. I know everybody hyped the crap out of this and said what a great show it was. I don't know. Maybe I feel a bit like it's too close to Jabberwockies at Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, which I have zero interest in. I'd much rather spend my time either watching Bill and Ted or going through mazes and houses and scare zones.
I want to say that was the consensus last year when this was announced, though. A lot of people thought, oh, this is going to be our version in Orlando of the Jabberwockies. And then everybody was like, whoa, this was not the Jabberwockies. This was really good. So I don't know. I feel like you should definitely give it a shot. I didn't get a chance to take in a full set of the show last year. Reason being, I went for 3 nights. I was there during Hurricane Matthew. One of the nights got erased. Didn't happen. The first night that I went, the show didn't happen because the stage was under repair or they were putting it back
Right.
up. So I didn't even get a chance to see it until the third. They did like a modified version the first night where they were doing like on the street version.
Mhm.
I didn't bother, and then by the time the third night rolled around, it was my last night, and I didn't want to waste a bunch of time. I caught bits and pieces of it and was very impressed with what I saw, mostly because of the sound system. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I remember walking by and just my chest, like feeling the bass of the music in my chest. It was incredible. But I did like what I saw, and I'm going much, much more this year. So I'm definitely going to take in a few showings of it if I can. I'm excited about it, especially because doesn't it have a tie-in to the Body Collectors this year? Or was that last year? I remember hearing that somewhere.
Tied into the Asylum.
I thought I had heard, and maybe that was just a rumor during the speculation period, that there was a tie-in to the Body Collectors this year.
I'm not going to rule it out. It's possible, I guess.
So I'm excited.
The thing for me that I think probably is the reason why I made a true conscious decision to like not waste time with it last year was because it's it's in the streets, it's outdoors. They're not going to have the same kind of photography restrictions that Bill and Ted has, or the same type of restrictions in a house. There were going to be tons of YouTube videos of this thing. And I didn't feel that it necessarily was something that I had to get out there and see in the moment. I could probably see a YouTube video and get the feel.
But Brian, you're a big concert guy. You don't get that bass in your chest. You don't get the feel of that music live,
No, but see, that's the thing. I also haven't taken any effort to look up a single YouTube video of this thing in the past year.
What?
That's how little interest I actually have in this show. So I don't know. Just maybe if I watch it, I'll regret not seeing it last year. But
in fairness, watching the video doesn't translate as well as it did seeing it live. So even if you do go back and watch a video, you're probably going to be a little underwhelmed by it. Like you'll get the gist of what it is, but seeing it with the blasting music and holding the blinky cup in your hand and staggering around from a night full of drinking. It's a lot more impressive in person. Yeah. I'm not saying you got to be drunk to enjoy it. I'm just saying, like,
that's a good point. Maybe I'll give it a shot, especially hanging out with Josh. He'll force me to watch it, I'm sure.
Probably.
How many nights are you going?
2 or 3, depending on if we do Hollow Scream on that Saturday.
So it's a bit of a tight schedule. I'd at least try to get one viewing of it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Jabberwocky show out in Hollywood or no?
No.
Okay. I've seen clips. Well, I've watched as much as I can of the Jabberwockies one. It sucked compared to Academy of Villains. The fact that it didn't even look like a Halloween show. It looked like their Vegas show. It didn't seem to be themed at all. Academy of Villains was themed to Universal original stuff. It was themed to the Asylum, to Shady Brook. This one, not sure what it's themed to. Maybe the Caretakers. Who knows? Or Body Collector. Sorry. So it's cool that at least it was themed. I thought it was really well.
Yeah, and if it's something that kind of adds to that storyline of Body Collectors or Jack and Chance or stuff like that, like I don't know, that spikes my interest a bit more. Maybe when we do the wrap up, I'll have seen it and have a different opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think right now we're aiming for 3 nights, and then like you said, the extra night, depending on if we do Hollow Scream or not. We still haven't decided. We're waiting to find out details on that, so we'll see. So the sad news, of course, is after 26 years. Holy crap, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure is coming to an end, and at least I will say they were nice enough to say this to prep everybody to not just end it, regardless of your love or hate. For some, I'm sure Walking Dead fans were very upset to hear that it's not part of the event this year.
They can go to Hollywood.
They could go to Hollywood.
They can go to Hollywood whenever they want.
I'm still shocked that has not come to Orlando yet. That's a whole other story. Yeah, so after 26 years, it's finally coming to an end. One last tour date. So, what do you guys think? We're having
I'm insanely depressed about this.
Yep.
I'll admit it took me a while to get into Bill and Ted at the event, only because in my earlier years I was nowhere near as savvy on how to navigate the event. So 2002, 3, 4, 5, pretty much all its years at Islands. I spent most of the night waiting in one or two lines for houses. It wasn't until 2008 that I really learned how to navigate Halloween Horror Nights and finally had a chance to actually see Bill and Ted. So this will be almost 10 years of Bill and Ted for me. It's I'm not getting emotional now, but it's sad to see it go. It's such a unique and interesting part of Halloween Horror Nights, and to so many people, it is the event. It's the one show in Orlando that isn't afraid to make fun of anything. I saw it in Hollywood the year that it shut down and it was its final. It didn't have anywhere near the same feeling to me. So I don't mourn the loss of the Hollywood one the same way that I will the Orlando one. There's just something unique and really special. You kind of get attached to the actors that are playing Bill and Ted. You get attached to seeing the dancers and seeing the certain it almost has that Rocky Horror Midnight movie feel where seeing the last night. And I'm bummed that for the past couple of years I haven't been out there on the last night of the event to see the final show. But someone always sneaks a camera in. And you can
I'm actually going to be there the very last night of the event this year, but
expect to spend your entire night if you want to see that final show waiting for it. That's what I'm going to say.
Here's the thing. I'm going to fess up and say, like, I'll be the first one to admit that, like, I understand how big of a deal it is every year in the past to just get into the final show of the event. And that final show ever is going to be like people are going to be like broken down, crying. People are going to be weeping. Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to try to pretend like I belong in that stadium for that final show.
I mean, there are fans who threw a funeral for Disney Quest.
Well,
so look, Halloween Horror Nights fans are a little more intense than Disney.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Anytime anything closes, people lose their minds and act like you just murdered their puppy. But yeah, this is a beast that I don't even want to try to get involved with. Like, I don't feel like I even need to be trying to take up a seat of somebody else that has been spending 26 years or 15 years or 10 years, whatever. Like, I've been going 2 years and I enjoy what I've seen the last couple of years, but by all means, like, from what I understand, these shows have really fallen off over the last couple of years. And so I've not even caught the better versions of this show. And so I'm not even going to try to be that dickhead that tries to sneak my way into the final show. Somebody much more, like a much bigger fan, deserves to be in there that night. So it'll be cool and it'll be a spectacle to see everybody trying to get into that thing. But I'm not going to try. But I don't know. I'm bummed. But like I said, there's a lot of other, as sad as this is, there's a lot of people that are also looking at this on the bright side. Like, this really has been kind of declining and everybody's really just been bitching about it the last couple of years anyway. And so maybe it's better to just take it out back and shoot it, put it out of its misery, You
have a good point.
So I don't know. But then again, I don't have the nostalgia tied to it that everybody does. So I enjoy it. If given the choice, I'd love to see it stick around. I would like 10 times out of 10, if given that choice, I'd keep it, move it somewhere else in the park. There's plenty of other ideas that come to mind, but if it's not an option, it's not an option. I don't know how I feel about Academy of Villains taking over as like the main staple show of the event if it comes back again next year, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, it's the veteran show, and that's what everybody's got to look forward to. That just feels weird because if you go to haunt events anywhere, there's a Bill and Ted style show at most of them. Like, this is a thing that you do. Like, Knott's has The Hanging. You go to Busch Gardens, they've got a terrible but a version of this. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, Fiends. But like, you've got to poke fun at your pop culture. It's what keeps, it gives you a break. It's that comedic break that really helps you break up the night.
Hollywood doesn't have it. They completely got rid of that.
It's because they're all so fucking offended by everything that. Well, that's not true, because Scary Farm legitimately with The Hanging is one of the most
like last year.
Yeah, they hung Pikachu, and props to them for the show being called Fake Noose this year.
Yeah,
that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. But yeah, it's not really fair to say that Hollywood can't pull off a show, because The Hanging is incredible. Like, everything they say, I just look around and go, how many fucking people were offended by that? Because that was horrible. That's awesome. So
I will say Orange County and LA are two very different places.
That's good. That's good.
For people who do not know the geography of California.
It is quite far
I'm up in San Francisco. It's a very different place than Los Angeles, which is an incredibly different place than Orange County.
Yeah, fair point. But yeah, I don't know. Is it just a coincidence the two times I've watched Bill and Ted, or is the entire line, because this is the part I'm going to take away and be the most sad about, when you're waiting in line for it and they play Sweet Caroline and everybody sings along to it, is that like a tradition, or is that just something that I coincidentally?
That's
every year.
That's every year. There's two things that I distinctly remember the most from every Bill and Ted show that I've ever seen. The first is Sweet Caroline, While You're Waiting.
Yeah.
And the second one is I don't know if it's done live or if it's recording or whatnot, but there's some like sound tech who, when it's time to open the gates and let people in, goes, "Let's go," and holds it for a long ass time. Those are the two fond memories I have of waiting for Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you always have
Bail Army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty new. That's like Phil Army clips While You're Waiting. It has to be 2015 or newer.
Okay.
Because that was not a thing in the past.
Well, that is such a fond memory of mine from last year, was standing in line going, oh, this is happening again. Like Sweet Caroline came on, which I just love. That's one of my all-time like soft spot kind of songs. I don't know why. It's just so fun to listen to. But everybody's singing along with it, and being late in the night, and most people are just pretty drunk, just like loving the communal kind of feel of it. Like, when the day they announced that this was the last one, that was kind of my big moment of sadness. Was like, I instantly like pulled up Spotify and listened to Sweet Caroline, and I was like, oh man, that hurts. I've got to be honest, that hurts. So that's a bummer. That's the saddest part about it to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. So what characters do you think are either going to return or be a part of the last Bill and Ted? What villain do you think they'll bring into this? How political do you think they're going to get? What are your expectations? What do you think the show's going to be?
I will predict some kind of jab at the Trump animatronic. I don't know why, but I just feel, why not?
Well, maybe because it was supposed to open the 4th of July, and it's not.
Still not open, and no mention of it.
Tremendous.
And obviously, Sex with Tails.
Yeah.
They'll definitely be there.
Even somebody who only watched the last 2 shows, like, even I know that that's going to be there.
That Sex with Tails has been going on since I lived in Orlando like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's been half the Bill and Ted shows that I've seen have been sex tales.
Yeah, it's tough for me to say because I've only got the last 2 years to draw from, so I can't. I'm the wrong person to ask this question, but
I'm sure we'll see a lot of returning people. I don't know. Like I'd have to like watch the videos that are on YouTube of whatever ones have been released. They're always hard to find. Though before I go on there are some interesting questions coming in the chat room from
Yes.
Roller Coaster Rider. First question is, do you think they'll move Bill and Ted to the horror and makeup location? No.
no.
That's actually a really good question, though, not specifically for Bill and Ted, but why is there not a show that is in horror makeup? It's the perfect venue.
Why?
I mean, it's
Why isn't there
small.
horror makeup? Why isn't that going on during the night?
Yeah. I think if they moved it anywhere, it would have to be the Terminator Theater. Like, horror makeup's way too small. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's tiny.
Well, they could very easily relocate some cues for sound stages and to do it on the damn the main stage where you hold your concerts. Like, what are we talking about here?
They could do it in a soundstage. That's where they do Grinchmas.
Right. I have a theory, which would take a long time to explain, but in a nutshell, with a lot of construction coming to areas that are going to be heavily impacting Horror Nights starting next year, I think we're going to be looking at a potential 2-park situation. And my theory is, I don't think Bill and Ted's going away. I think Bill and Ted is going to come back over at Islands of Adventure. What's that amphitheater over there?
The Toon one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's where it was when they had either the split parks or
something about it. I don't know. I just have this weird feeling like they're kind of touting it as the farewell tour this year, and then they're gonna like rebrand it and revamp it next year.
Like the Who.
Something.
Farewell Tour 89, Farewell Tour 99.
But that's just my sneaking suspicion, is that the event as a whole is going to be very different, and they may reintroduce them as something else. And that might just be part of the running joke with it. Is like, oh, nope, not our farewell tour. Like, we're back. So that's just my theory.
I kind of think that they're I don't remember if it was your podcast, Kenny, or one of the other ones, but there's been some good points brought up about Universal kind of starting to be really afraid of the litigation side and the PC police and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of don't see them necessarily bringing it back in that same kind of, like, I feel like they've been able to get away with it for the past couple of years because it's been tradition. But the second that you kind of cut it, I think it's a little harder to bring it back as pop culture offensive. We're going to say shit and stuff like that.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
I just never found a show to be, I guess I'm not one of those people, but I've just never found a show to be that offensive. Like, it's risque, it's rude, but it's like, come on, people. It's, if you don't want to watch it, they give you plenty of warnings. Walk out.
Well, you also paid to come to an event to watch scare actors murder people in houses. Like, what are we taking so serious here? What are we offended by? What's going on here?
It all comes back to the South Park movie, right? Like, violence is okay, but heaven forbid you swear.
Yeah. South Park is so spot on all the time. It's unbelievable.
But I don't know. I would love to see it come back one day. I am sadly not as optimistic as you, Kenny. I think this is it. Weird, but
to be clear, I'm just kind of throwing that Hail Mary out there by the off chance that it does happen. I can be like, I'm the one asshole.
Called it.
I called it. I don't actually think it's going to happen.
We'll make sure to archive this.
Okay. Awesome.
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I do think you're right, though, in terms of the 2-park situation, at least for next year or maybe the next couple of years. Because let's look at this. That's my biggest fear. Not so much like losing the show sucks. Losing a theater that eats people for an hour,
Yeah.
approximately, that's what I'm fearful of.
Yeah.
What the hell is if there is legit only one show in the park? Damn,
Yeah.
damn.
Well, what I am very optimistic about, not that it's going to be a good thing or not, but what I do feel like is going to, I think the event's going to be very different starting next year, because that whole kid zone area is going to be dramatically different with construction and Nintendo coming and all that. So I don't know that they can stay in studios exclusively after this, really. I mean, if you're just looking at the logistics of it, like, that's going to be hard. And I'm not saying they're going to have to go exclusively to IOA, but like, it's going to have to be considered to at least be a park to park thing. And in that case, like, you can throw another show over in the Toon Amphitheater. I don't think this necessarily indicates the end of a two show era kind of situation. They're going to have two shows. Like, they have to know that the capacity of that show is a must in this event. Like, you can't eliminate something that's that big of a crowd eater and expect there to be no problem with it. So I'm confident they'll do something. It's just going to be dramatically different from what we're used to. Plus, they're going to knock that theater down, and there's going to be an awesome new Harry Potter attraction. So more opportunity to buy butterbeer.
Allegedly.
Yeah, there's another really interesting thing being talked about in the chat here, which is if Universal did horror revamps of their screen simulators. And actually, at Universal Japan, I don't know if they still do it, but they were doing that for quite a few years. They would, the one I saw, I didn't see it in person, but I saw a video of it, was Back to the Future. They go to 2015, and then rather than going to the lava scene, which is after that, it jumped to some weird random like spooky Japanese house, and it goes through, and then there's a like the ring comes out, and then it puts you back to the end of Back to the Future. It was really strange and one of the most bizarre cuttings, but they actually do a few horror overlays of their screen simulators.
Are you doing Japan this year or no?
No, just Singapore.
You've done Japan though, right? For Horror Nights or no?
Not for Horror Nights, no, just for daytime.
Have you heard about the Terminator experience during Horror Nights in Japan?
I think so. I think I may have seen a video of it or something.
All right. Well, okay. That's something I don't know. I don't want to spoil it if you ever. I mean, I'm sure you'll go one day, but whatever. I'll spoil it anyways. If you don't want to hear it, warning. Apparently, what they do is you go and they start the Terminator 3D show just as is. It starts up. It's doing its thing, and then literally the girl from the ring will come out of the screen.
What?
The theater goes dark, and it sounds kind of like Stitch's Great Escape, but with the girl from the ring.
I'm gonna pull up flights to Japan.
But their system is crazy. Like, you got to get there first thing because it's included in their ticket. You got to get there first thing in the morning and get tickets to these things so that you're guaranteed to go. And usually, the Terminator one apparently they sell out of their tickets within the first hour or two of the park being opened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot of planning.
I do have a 10-hour layover in Japan on my way back from Singapore, but Osaka is a bit too far away from Haneda Airport.
Ah, damn.
You can do anything you put your mind to.
Exactly.
Right. I will be hitting Tokyo Disneyland in those 10 hours. That's a guarantee.
Nice. There you go.
Damn you. All right, guys. So it's coming to the part of the show where we're going to talk about the hype list. I talked to Kenny prior to the show. I did mine a little bit different. I don't know, Brian, how you did yours, but I just straight up did all 16 things and ranked it, mixed it up, scares up. Yeah, I learned that was a very hard thing to do.
Yeah. I would not be very successful in that. I'm pretty indecisive.
Like, how do I put a scare zone over a show and vice versa? I'm like, So you guys can go first, and then I'll read my jumbled mess after.
Okay. Brian, go ahead.
All right. So should I go top down or bottom up?
I'd go top down. Save the best for
Top-
last.
All right.
Sorry, bottom up.
For last. Yeah,
Bottom
yeah,
up.
bottom up.
I'm,
We'll do it.
I'm an idiot. Don't.
We'll do it clip show style. So for all the houses, I have the one I'm least excited for, Fallen, followed by Ash,
Ooh.
Ash versus Evil Dead, then Blumhouse, Saw, Scarecrow, American Horror Story, Dead Waters. The Shining is my number 2, and my number 1 is Hive. I'm most excited for Hive.
Damn.
Nice.
Well,
For scare zones, I've got Alter, the one I'm clearly least excited about.
spoiler alert. That's the same for all of us.
Yep.
Followed very shortly behind Festival of the Deadliest. Not super stoked on that one. Purge is the middle of the road one. Still excited for it. Trick or Treat is going to be number 2. Number 1, Invasion. I'm stoked on that 1955 theme that I hope really does become an ongoing thing.
Brian.
And then for shows, Bill and Ted.
Webcam high five, because our scare zone's exactly the same. That's awesome.
Nice.
That saves a little bit of time. I don't have to go over mine. So go ahead with your shows.
Well, clearly, he's most excited for Academy of Villains. Like this is on.
Totally, 100%.
Bill
and who?
I don't think we need to hear your.
Phil and Med.
Will and what? Will and Grace.
That's actually what they're replacing it.
I was gonna say that's a peek into your 2018 show.
Hey, legit, they could just do Harold and Kumar and replace it.
Oh my god, that would actually be awesome.
That would kind of work.
That would be.
I mean, what?
Weed
looking at
will be legal in Florida that year.
And bring over Neil Patrick Harris.
And they did start trying to sneak White Castle down into the Florida area a couple years ago. Fun Spot clearly tried that, and it was very successful.
Incredibly
Also,
successful.
If we're looking at the time frame, so Bill and Ted started in '93. That
91.
movie's was 90. When was the first year of the event? 90.
91.
So that was 90.
90, and then Bill and Ted was 91.
And when was the original film from?
89 or 87?
88 or 89,
I mean, we're even looking at like somewhat similar of a time frame. Like you're a few years behind.
Do you think we'll see Bill and Ted and Hive?
Is that what we're getting at here?
Oh man.
Getting deep.
Soundtrack by Wild Stallions.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I'll jump into my house list.
Sure.
My least excited is Saw, but again, that's not saying a lot. Like I'm still excited about it. And then my number 8's The Shining. A very hesitant. I'm really hoping that's going to jump up higher.
You're
number
going
7
safe on it.
What's that?
You're going safe on it.
Yeah, I'm going safe because I think The Exorcist was really high on my list last year, and then I was just kind of all sorts of disappointed. So I'm really staying hesitant there. Blumhouse, even though I haven't seen some of the content that's going to be in it, I'm really excited about the concept, and I'm really excited to see Insidious come back because that was a massive letdown. It's a side story for another time, but I only had one walkthrough in 25. And it was a bad walkthrough, and I've heard so many good things about Insidious, so I'm glad to see it come back. Scarecrow is the lowest of the originals for me at number 6. Ash vs. Evil Dead really says a lot that's number 5 on my list because I'm so fucking excited about Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Shocked on that.
Well,
but I get it.
Here's why. American Horror Story is number 4. Like, I'm really like. I've got nothing bad to say about that. Like, there's no reason for me to not be excited. But my top 3 are all originals. So that's why Horror Story and Ash fall in 4 and 5. But Dead Waters, number 3 for me. The Fallen, number 2. And then, Brian, we agree, The Hive. It's going to be phenomenal. I hope. It better be, anyway. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big old letdown. So we agreed on about half our list. I think like 4 or 5 of ours were exactly in line with them with each
Yeah,
other. So
1, 3, 6.
and
I think they
7,
were all the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good stuff. And then Scare Zone's lined up the same. Yeah, I think the shows kind of speak for themselves.
Uh,
So
quick funny comment in the chat room. Roller Coaster Rider suggested a grim grinning ghosts excellent adventure, and I corrected him that it should be grim grinning hosts
that a boy,
adventure. So
that a boy.
being
Cheap
Plug
plug.
City.
I even have to do it myself. Nice
so
one.
I'll go through my list and I'll separate it as you guys did. So apologies if I'm a little bit choppy when I'm doing this. So houses. I've got at the bottom of the list number 9. I've got Scarecrow the Reaping. Number 8, I've got The Shining. Number 7 would be Horrors of Blumhouse. Number 6 would be Saw. Number 5 would be The Hive. 4 would be Ash versus Evil Dead. 3 is The Fallen. 2 is Horror Stories. And number 1 would be Dead Waters. I just love the Voodoo Queen as a character.
Yeah.
Love Bayou stuff. Excited it's in a soundstage, and I don't think this is going to be disappointing. I don't expect kiddie pools half filled with water a la The Walking Dead. So this should be pretty awesome.
Cautiously optimistic on that one.
Scare Zones, clearly Altars of Horror is last. Festival of the Deadliest, Invasion, Trick or Treat, and the number 1 will be The Purge. I loved it before. I don't doubt I'm going to love it again.
Nice.
It's a fun time. And obviously, Academy of Villains is number 1. No. Villain Dead, without a doubt, is going to be amazing. It's going to be bittersweet for sure. So
Yeah. Are either of you guys doing like a VIP to RIP tour or the Unmasking the Horror, any of that stuff?
first year I'm passing on Unmasking the Horror.
Oh, this is the first year I'm gonna do it. Really looking forward to it. So
I actually have never done one.
Awesome.
The 1 year I was going to do it, I ended up actually getting a free tour through an organization I was with,
nice.
and it was interesting. It was more with like director of ops and those type of folks
Yeah.
than an actual RIP tour. Actually, when I was with Universal, one of the jobs I almost got was RIP tour guide, and then I left the company at that time, which was a bummer. But never been on an RIP tour, never done any of the behind the scenes. In fact, today I actually did just confirm my RIP tour for Singapore because it was $120
Oh,
US currency to do
wow.
an RIP tour with unlimited food and all that stuff. I may be doing an RIP tour in Hollywood as well. I did one a few years ago. That is probably one of the best deals. It's close to at the time I did it, it was around $200 or so. But it got you into the event. It got you the only alcohol you could get at the event in Hollywood. It got you a full tour, unlimited skip the line for both rides and
Jesus.
mazes. And it got you VIP valet parking.
Wow.
And a full buffet.
Wow. That
$20 more than getting just a ticket with Express.
I feel like you misread that. like there's no way that's possible. That's wow.
No, so they stopped doing it last year. This year they brought it back. It's almost $300 now.
Oh.
But
Well,
still
a good deal.
pretty worth it. It's the only
Yeah.
place you can get a drink at the event, an adult drink. Buffet was good. Parking's $20, so saving there.
Well, I was sold, and I'll make this brief because I know we're going on like 4.5 hours here. I'm really excited about the Unmasking the Horror tour, and what really cemented my excitement for it was over the past weekend. My wife and I went down downtown Chicago, and not downtown. We went down to the city. There's a pop-up bar. You guys familiar with pop-up bars?
Yep.
Sure am.
So there's a bar down there that has a Stranger Things pop-up bar.
Ooh.
And they were doing the Upside Down. And I walked in and I fucking love that show. Like, it's legitimately one of my favorite shows ever. And I realized in that moment, like looking around at how they built these different scenes from the show, that I was like, I don't have people jumping out and scaring me, but I feel the same exciting vibe right now as I feel when I walk into a haunted house. And I realized right then and there that I'm all about looking at the set pieces and how everything's built and all that, and how it's constructed, and how they, took a picture of something and recreated it. And it was right then and there that kind of concreted my excitement for the Unmasking the Horror tour. Because as much as I love walking through and getting the excitement and the thrill of the scare actors and all that, it's really about the set designs and how everything's put together that I'm really excited about. So I feel like the tour is definitely going to be worth it and a good time. And I hope I'm not disappointed, but I don't think I'm going to be. So
I don't think you will be either. Are you doing one tour or two of them?
we're doing 2, so we're going to have the 6 houses.
Okay.
Make a whole day out of it. So
Are you doing it before you go to the actual event, or are you doing it after?
I'll be going the night before for my first night.
Okay.
And then I'll be going during the day for the tour, and then going again that night to the event. So
Yeah, it's far more intriguing and interesting to do it where you've seen the house first and then you're learning.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
You're doing it the right way, provided you can get into all the houses. So I think for us, what killed it, honestly, I know we have our mental memories and all that kind of stuff, but the whole photo rule that was implemented, that kind of ruined a lot of it for me.
Yeah.
Just because I love being able to take the pictures and do really cool, like crawl into the, where they have the half bodies for some of the scenes, crawl into those holes and take pictures like that, and go inside the prison cells at Walking Dead and take those pictures. Like, that can't happen. Yeah, you can probably do it in the originals, but you more typically want the pictures in the shows. Like I would love to be able to get a picture inside of Ash's trailer.
Yeah.
But so that kind of ruined it. And plus, after, what is this now? 23, 24, 25, 4 years in a row doing it, taking a year off is a good save of a couple $100 as well. So
Yeah.
Well, you can blame people for that again.
Yeah.
Can't have nice, fun things because of people.
Yep. Yeah. No, I have some friends who were tour guides who also were not thrilled about that last year. It made their lives pretty difficult.
Yeah, because they had to double up on the guides. You have one in the front, and you'll see this, Kenny. You'll have one in the front and one at the back, and that never used to be the case. And you pull anything out that looks like a camera, and you're getting in trouble.
You're getting that butt probe early.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't have to wait for invasion later.
But it's still really cool to learn all their tricks and their secrets, and about the guest activated triggers and the regular triggers and everything like that. So it's still really awesome. So you'll enjoy it. No doubt.
Cool.
All right, tour.
That's kind of why I'm stoked that my trip isn't the first weekend, so I have some time to learn about the guest activated triggers.
Yeah, that's cool. We're going to take one really quick question before we wrap up, non-Horror Nights related. Really quick, what is the best haunt in a regional park you've gone through in North America?
Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I wish I could add something different, but Knott's Scary Farm is, it's, you can't beat that.
They're, in my opinion, they're the game on the West Coast.
They're the game.
I think they're better than Horror Nights.
Yeah. We just dedicated a whole show to it. I said the same thing last year. I hate to do it, but like, it's not even really fair. It's not even really close. Like, there are no audio triggers like pedals, switches, buttons. It's all fucking actors, and they
Mhm.
scare the shit out of you. It's all authentic. It's all insanely well executed. It's all original. There are no intellectual properties. So it's, man, they've got it going on out there. It's incredible.
Yeah, totally. For best house, I at that park I'd
Paranormal
absolutely
Inc.
have to say Paranormal. Yeah, Paranormal Shadowlands is a close second. For me, it felt pretty unique and had some great scares, but Paranormal, yeah, that's
It's
got to be uh, the magnum opus of themed dark attractions.
anything that came from the mind of what's his name? John. What the
Oh
hell?
no, the other John.
John, I can't think of his name. His first name's John. If anybody listening knows John, anything he does, he's the creator of
Mhm.
Paranormal Inc.
I think he did Dark Ride for this year
Yeah,
too.
Dark Ride's new
There.
from him.
I,
Yeah,
I'm super stoked on that one.
he's a twisted individual who is very well versed in being able to execute his twisted thoughts. So, yeah,
For me, I would say Death Water Bayou at Tampa, Busch Gardens, Tampa was one highlight, and I think I went through the Poe House as well before it got switched over.
oh,
I think.
that's another one. Scary Farm did
Yep,
was
same
a
year if I'm
Edgar Allan
not
Poe.
mistaken. I think
Mhm.
Very good house. Yeah. Did you do Hotel Hell last year?
I did not.
Yeah,
So good.
I love the sets on it. Scares were minimal, pretty minimal.
Yeah, minimal,
But
but yeah, really good looking out.
good,
What's that new
yeah,
one they're bringing out this year? It's like
I haven't even looked at the lineup for them yet.
it's kind of like a Tower of Terror kind of feel to it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's their new house this year. Looks outstanding. Sounds awesome. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it back there again this year, but we'll see. Never say never. You can do anything you put your mind
Just
to.
yeah, just know that I believe the only major haunts that are open through November are Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So Knott's ends their last days, I think even the 29th or
Ugh,
30th. I
not
don't
even
even think they're
going.
on Halloween.
Not even going to Halloween, huh?
LA and Orange County are very different beasts on Halloween.
Yeah.
They're party city.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The
So
the new houses, Kenny, at Tampa are Demented Dimensions and
that's the one. Demented Dimensions. Look up it.
Every room and hallway holds a door to a different universe where rules of your world do not apply and escape is nearly impossible.
You
Fucking
unlock the
amazing.
door with the key of imagination.
Yep, pretty much.
Sounds badass. Sounds
Yeah.
badass.
I think we are getting out to Hollow Scream at SeaWorld San Antonio this year, so that should be interesting. I'm intrigued. We'll end up potentially hitting all 3 Hollow Scream events this year. I don't know. Depends on if we do Tampa or not.
Shout out to our comrade Andrew, who was on this episode last year. Did not make it this year, but when asked about his hype list for this year, he said, "Free candy at SeaWorld all of October."
It's a good thing to be excited for.
Yes.
All right, guys. I think we will wrap this beast up for the night. If we don't get to join again prior to our trips, I know Brian, myself, my wife, Jen, and a bunch of people will all be down there in 2 weeks. Under 2 weeks now. Kind of crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Weird. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I gotta wait till Halloween. I'm going the last 2 weekends.
I'm just gonna say you are brave for doing that. It sounds fun, but it also sounds crazy busy to me.
Yeah, I look at it like the positive spin I'm putting on it is I get to have the excitement level much longer than everybody else.
This is true. This is true.
It's true.
So,
the anticipation is one of the most fun parts of.
Yeah, exactly.
But once it's over and you just keep seeing all the Instagram photos and tweets and stuff of everybody still having fun there.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a bummer. You're like,
Yeah.
man, I want to go back.
I'm gonna be that dickhead just putting pictures up, and yeah, I'm still having fun, guys. Screw you. You all thought it was funny coming down early. Who's laughing now?
We'll
Well, if a
we'll
hurricane comes and blows us away, then it's redemption for you last year, huh?
Yeah, boy.
we'll definitely be back in November to discuss all of our Halloween antics, possibly prior to that. If you guys have watched our videos, and the people who are in the chat room are watching this later on, last year Jen and I got to go out to an awesome independent haunt here, Markov Haunted Forest. It's in its 25th year. We're actually going out there this weekend to get a behind-the-scenes look at what's coming for their 25th anniversary, and we've seen some of it already, and it looks incredible. So we're going to have a preview. We're going to have a full recap once we go to the event later on. Easily my favorite haunted event I have done over anything, including Halloween Horror Nights. It's just, it is so damn good. There's reasons that people fly to this event, and there's reasons it's been around for 25 years. It is damn good. So super stoked for that. So guys, quickly, you want to plug your social medias, your good stuff, your shows that you do outside of this?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Rockceratops.
Great name.
Like a triceratops that fucking rocks.
Fantastic. What a great handle. You can find me at In the Loop Kenny. Very, very occasionally I do stuff for In the Loop, but definitely most active over at the Grim Grinning Host podcast. Give them a follow at GGH Podcast on Twitter. Go find us on iTunes. Subscribe. It's a hoot. It's a hoot and a half. You'll probably be offended. Even if you're not easily offended, you'll be offended by something. I guarantee it. So.
Oh, yeah. It's been so long since I've done this. I don't even remember. So our Twitter is at JForcesOfficial. It's been so long, man. I just feel, pardon the bad joke, but I feel out of the loop.
Some people are going to get that.
Yeah. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter at JForcesOfficial. Facebook is facebook.com/JForces, much easier. And obviously you're already on our YouTube page. So if you've not done it yet, click subscribe. If it's still red, click it. Click the little bell alert icon. And, every couple of months, it seems lately, that we put up a new video, you'll be alerted. But we're going to get better at that.
You'll get a new one or two from me if I ever get around to editing them of Pacific Northwest.
If I can get my dinosaur park video up, it's edited, but the last part of it looks like Godzilla, which is maybe appropriate because it's just all out of sync. So maybe I might just throw it up on there like that, just for fun. But that was a weird ass dinosaur park here in Virginia. It's terrifying.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll have tons of content. And I said this last time, and I know it didn't happen, but I really hope that we can try to do more of these stuff. We got to grow our audience. We want to make sure we have a demand for it. Like right now, we got 6 people watching, which is excellent. We want to grow that, so we got to keep at it.
Tell a friend or two.
Yeah,
or 3.
Yeah, yep. So, Brian,
if you didn't have fun tonight watching us, then don't tell anyone.
Mr. Meter, Josh, I don't get that. Oh my God! Somebody has all the old In the Loop live episodes saved.
Oh my Lord!
I'm sorry for those.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry. Hopefully, you find entertainment in them at least.
There's some fun stuff in there.
Just don't save the Coaster Toaster stuff. Anyways, all right, guys. Thank you very much for joining in this crazy chat. And,
enjoy your Halloween season, everybody.
Definitely. Stay scary, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye. I don't have funny things to hand gestures to make like.